Henry Flynn had a lumber camp in the forest just outside of Valhalla, Michigan, US. During the summer, his wife and 3 years old daughter, Katie, would come from the city and stay with him. Part of Flynn's job was to guide a team of horses carrying the trees to an uphill area, drop the load, and come back for additional trees. During the June of 1868, Henry led Katie to ride one of the horses on the way uphill. Once she got on the top, she dismounted the horse and ran back down the hill by the trail. This was a normal routine when Katie was around Henry. But in this trip, Katie never made it back down. The mother thought she was with the father, and the father thought she made it back to the house at the bottom of the hill. When Henry returned home and found out Katie wasn't there, a search was immediately initiated. Henry checked the path that Katie was taking, and he noticed her tracks slowly merged with the path of a huge black bear. Two hunters were wandering around and offered to help Henry. The group was searching until early morning, but they didn't find anything. Early the next morning, Henry and a group of searchers went back to look for Katie. Around 4 p.m., the men heard a feeble cry in a dense underbush. They started to make their way through the river when they heard another faint cry. Just before the men reached the river, they saw a huge black bear jump into the river and disappear across the other side. Katie was found standing on a tree that was lying on the ground and crossing the water flow. The girl was picked up and taken to the camp. The 3-year-old girl had major scratches on her face and body. When Katie's father asked her why she didn't run away when she had the opportunity, she said, "Big Bear came up to me, took me in his arms, and walked away with me." When Henry realized one of her shoes was missing and asked her where it was, she responded, "The big bear ate it." Furthermore, when she was asked later what happened to her, she said after her father left, she played a little in the sand when a big black thing came along and played with her. Then it held out its paw and she caught hold of it, and they started walking away together. She continued, "Before getting dark, he left, and when he came back, he had lots of winter green berries in its paws. The bear ate some of the berries and then she ate some. Then he scraped a big pile of leaves on the ground and lay down close to her, and during the night he tried to cover the girl with his body." From the girl description, you can say she wasn't sure what she was seeing. Was it a bear or something else? What took Katie on the summer of 1868 remains a mystery to this day. The Pilkington family went to a vacation at a bed and breakfast place on the west coast of Vancouver Island with their 7-year-old son William and 10-year-old son Timothy. The city they chose was Tofino, which was an isolated community with dozens of small islands and is known for a city that many First Nation people reside. On February 15, 2008, the father woke up early and decided to take a walk on the beach. His 7-year-old son William asked to join him. The father and son walked to the street and then went down a set of steep stairs to the rocks and beach area. William stayed at the bottom of the stairs while the father walked the rocky beach area. David was around 36 feet from his son when he took his eyes off of him for just a few minutes, and during that time William vanished. David searched the beach area and the stairs, but he didn't find anything. He informed his wife and the bed and breakfast place, and they informed the authorities. The Royal Canadian Metro Police supplied a huge response to William's disappearance. They brought in land, sea, and air units to help. Canine dogs were at the scene the first day and tried to pick up a scent. There is a thick forest that borders the beach that was searched as well, but nothing was found. The second day, a steady rain started falling down, which hampered the effort. The search lasted 3 days and involved scuba divers, helicopters, and 200 volunteers that included First Nation people as well. Nothing was found. The search team believed his body or his clothes would wash onto the nearby beaches, but nothing appeared. Nothing of William was ever found, and he's still missing to this day. The Panknin family lived in south of Deep Lake in eastern Washington City. The family moved there from Turkey in 1962 after Mr. Panknin served in US Air Force. He had just retired and decided to take the family to a camping trip close to the Big Lake on a weekend in August of 1963. Nothing happened on the first day of camping. On the second day, Mr. Panknin went fishing with his son Ted, while Mrs. Panknin took the other three sons with the names of Bobby 4 years old, Jimmy 6 years old, and Billy 10 years old on a hike behind their campsite to look at a small waterfall just off an old logging road. The group reached the area of the waterfall and Mrs. Panknin told the 4 years old Bobby to sit on the ground on the old road and wait a few minutes while she and the other brothers walked 10 feet to look at the falls. Mrs. Panknin knew Bobby couldn't walk through the brush to see the falls because he was only wearing a swimsuit and no shoes, and the ground was very rough. Mrs. Panknin and the brothers walked 10 feet to look at the falls, and they were back on the logging road in 2 minutes, but they couldn't find Bobby. He was gone. The group knew a car hadn't driven down the road, or they would have heard it. The group hadn't heard any people either. The boys and the mother immediately started yelling for Bobby, but there was no response. They went back to the resort to get more assistance, and immediately a search was initiated. The local sheriff sent men to aid in the search and also requested bloodhound dogs. At midnight of August 6, 3 days after the boy was missing, the sheriff gave the dogs Bobby's scent and they started running and leading the group. The dog ran for 2 miles and stopped at the fork in the logging road, which he barked and then became silent and did not move. Why the dog stopped and what might have happened to Bobby in that point, no one knows. On the same day, Sheriff gave an interview saying he couldn't make sense of what happened to the boy. The search for Bobby lasted for 1 week with more than 1,000 volunteers. There were some theories that a bear might have taken the boy, but dogs couldn't find any bear or a scene with blood in the area. His mother gave her thoughts on her son's disappearance. She said as if Bobby climbed up to the top of a tree and kept on going. Bobby was never found, and what happened to him in Deep Lake remains a mystery to this day.